The family, family unit is the foundation of society. Sorry to interrupt, but I just have to make this point.
There's something about a father having a vision, having a direction.
So you have to live a certain way. You have to understand the virtues of discipline, leadership, emotional intelligence. There is nothing in all the vices that you see in society that cannot be traced back to the family. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Hadiza and this is Africa Living with Hadiza. Today is a special day. I'm so excited. We're doing something that we've never done before. We are having a visual podcast. Are you guys not excited? God. These my guests are not excited. Oh God, I beg. So today I have two amazing people with me. You know, one of the things I really enjoy doing is, commenting on society, the way our very peculiar African Nigerian society is, some of the things that affect our lives, and, in a bid to rub minds, if we can make the situation better, or, just help anybody who might come across this and be listening. So today I have two amazing people with me. One of Abuja's finest, big boy. He's trying to be modest, but we have the Duke of Abuja with us today. Woo! Then we have the Art of Zui, one of Abuja's finest, artist, decorator, all-round craftswoman, very good with her hands. So we're going to allow both of them to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves. All right, who wants to go first?
Ladies first.
Hi guys, my name is Zui. Zuira, just like she introduced me. So yeah, I'm a visual artist, I'm a storyteller. I love to tell stories. I love to create unforgettable memories also. So I'm here to support Hadiza today on her channel. Hope you guys enjoy.
Thank you. All right, over to you. Yes.
Yeah, my name is Ahmed Mohammed Bello and I am the Duke of Abuja. I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah, that's what I am and it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys for coming. This is working for free for now, but when I blow, we're all blowing together. All right, so this podcast is actually called Good Intentions Podcast. So we talk about social issues in a sense of things that were started with good intentions but somehow turned out to be the opposite. The way they say no good deed goes unpunished. So we're going to be dissecting some of these, when I say like paradoxical situations where it seems like this is something that is supposed to be right but somehow became wrong. And today we're going to be talking about African mothers, bang bang bang, and the roles that they play in their son's life. We all know how African mothers seem to have this very interesting relationship, let's just say interesting, with their sons. And somehow I think in a sense, in a bid to be, overloving, overprotecting, over being, it kind of has a negative effect, or it has a counterproductive effect in a sense. So I don't know if they agree with me, but I want to hear their thoughts. And we're going to talk about, of course, different examples where some of these things have come to play, real life examples where some of these things have come to play. Because at the end of the day, we want a balanced society where everybody is happy. And I think Ahmed, when we were talking about this behind the scenes, Ahmed had kind of like a contrary opinion where he said it is actually African fathers that play a role in their daughters' lives, as opposed to their sons' lives. And I found that very interesting because I think, okay, let me allow him to take it up from there.
Well, just like we were discussing that day, I think this thing goes both ways.
Okay.
So you find out that, in a home where there's a father and a mother, sons and daughters, you find out that the father pays more attention to his daughter,
His daughter,
and the
okay.
mother pays more attention to the son. I don't know. There's just this divine law that both.
Like the polar energies just attract themselves.
The father sees himself in the daughter, the mother sees herself in the son, and she just wants to protect the son.
Okay, so guys, for me personally, I feel like maybe because we're girls, we had girls before the boys came.
Mm-hmm.
We're always told, you have to be in the kitchen, you have to learn to cook, you have to. And then when the boys started coming, I realized that there was a very uneven dynamic that began to play, because they are telling us, you need to wash the dishes, you need to do the laundry, you need to do this. As a girl, this is how you behave. As a girl, this is how you behave. You have to learn how to greet, be respectful. When the first boy came, it was nothing like that.
Absolutely nothing
In
like
fact,
that.
when the boy came to the age where he could now do some stuff for himself, everybody would be like, he's a boy. He's a boy. Boys are not found in the kitchen. Boys are, So it was just like, I don't understand. Girl. So the girl was supposed to be respectful. So for me, I feel this argument is a very serious one, because it tumbles and rolls into a very, very, very toxic. This boy is growing. As the clock is ticking, he's becoming whoever he will be. So sometimes they don't even grow out of being boys. They remain boys, and they are men now, and somebody has to pick up after them. They come into a room and take off their socks and take off shoes on the bed. Literally, laundry, clothes everywhere. Can't use the toilet properly. I mean, those things that I'm sorry.
Shots are being fired.
I mean, it's just like this. So in this whole house, there were girls and boys, but there's light and there's dark, because this person has no idea. You are coming into a dynamic of marriage with somebody, and you look good and you look cool and you look all that, and then you come into the marriage, and then the person cannot do a single thing. But that whole pampering and, he's a boy, he shouldn't cook. I feel like my son should know how to cook. My son should know the basic things. He should know how to put away his stuff. You're coming into the house. He should know how to, undress and know where to keep stuff. It shouldn't be a circus just because you are a boy. A boy should know how to do stuff.
Okay,
Well, I don't
Do you
quite,
agree?
I don't quite agree with that.
Okay.
And the reason why I don't agree with that is the kind of home I come from. I'm a first child.
Okay.
And I have a younger sister immediately after me. And I have other siblings. But I happen to be like a third parent to them.
Okay.
At the age of 10, I was already cooking.
Wow.
At the age of 10, I was already cooking. I was already looking after my younger ones. I would be the one to come back. Then my parents were totally against ourselves.
Okay.
So I had to be responsible.
Wow.
And that's why today I can fix my own food.
So that means I will say then that you are different.
Like a 1%.
Yeah, you are different from the general stereotype, because there was something I was reading online one day that said, a lot of African mothers, particularly African mothers, train their daughters.
Yeah.
They raise their daughters basically, and they love their sons. You understand? So it seems like it's a very different dynamic in the sense of when you're raising a girl. And personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. A woman should know how to cook. A woman should know how to put a home together. Yes, because in the responsibilities of maybe marriage and getting on in life, the responsibility of being a homemaker kind of falls more on the woman than it does on the man. But I feel like things like cooking, basically knowing how to take care of yourself, those are things that are they are life skills. Everybody should know them, whether you're a man or a woman. But most of the time, aside from you, aside from you, most of the time you see a lot
yes.
of men that don't know how to do all these basic things.
stuff. Yeah.
And they ride on. You see a lot of them
I
actually
listen to the
say,
I
you know,
most men who can do things by themselves.
oh really?
Okay, so I
No.
have a percentage of all of my colleagues
Yeah.
who have these conversations.
Yeah.
It's like, help. My man cannot do a thing. There was one that had to go somewhere and the baby was with the man.
Yeah.
And he didn't know how to change he didn't know what to do. And the poop or whatever, all the stuff that had stayed, I'm sorry, it's disgusting. But she literally, she stayed like that all day.
Because
Till she came
Until
back.
the wife
Because
came
he
back.
had no idea of what to do. And it's not because he didn't want to do it. He just was not ever equipped
or
to know
taught.
these things. And I have like, let me say 80% of women that I've spoken to in my life's journey that would say these things. Like, he doesn't know how to do anything. Or it was when we got together, he started doing this stuff. So, yeah,
well,
you might
well,
know.
Those are different men.
Yeah.
Because it takes me back to what you were saying about bad intentions. Growing up, I thought my mom hated me.
Okay.
I was a very notorious kid. You know, I was a notorious kid growing up in Kaduna, and go to school. I and my sister will go to school, come back home, and misplace my things. She was more upright than me. My mom would flog me, and till I clocked like 12 years old, you know, I used to think she hated me. But she would always tell me, it's because I love you, I want you to turn out well. That's why I say I always flog you. I need you to be upright, to be responsible. And, you know.
But then you are actually proving my point right 100%. That's exactly what you're doing, because the way your mom raised you is the ideal. That is actually what we are preaching, that a lot of African mothers, particularly for their sons, have to start doing. Because let me tell you something, the quality of a man is you can see the quality of a man from when he's being raised already. From how he's being raised as a boy, you can already envisage the kind of man that he will become.
Exactly.
Now your mother that paid particular attention to flog you, ensure that you get things right. Imagine if she had just left you. Let's say she loved you. Now you look at it as, oh, she loves me because everything you're doing wrong, she lets you, and she's just like, oh, he's a boy, please don't pressure him. Yes, I know boys will be boys, or boys can be like this sometimes, just let him be. Imagine what you would have turned out. Now, at a point where now you're a fully grown man, nobody can really correct you at this point. You have already become the person that you are. Imagine just for a moment that flip, if that was the case. I mean, your mother, round of applause for her. Round of freaking applause. I'm saying all of this to say this. A lot of African mothers don't understand that boundary, because it's like, let's say your mother had that obsessive love with you, allowing you to do everything your way. Trust me, and believe me that when you grow up as a man with your own family, it will remain that way. It will be difficult for her then now to detach and say, okay, this is my son, he has his own life now, let me allow him to go and flourish. That is what a lot of people call love. That's a lot of people call love, because I don't know if personally, I have a personal theory about this thing. I feel like a lot of African marriages, especially from like the baby boomers generation and before then, were very, very, very toxic. And there wasn't an avenue for people to speak out like now. There wasn't avenues for people to express themselves, what they are going through. It was just a situation of you're married, die there. No matter what happens to you, die there. So I feel like for a lot of women, the relationship they couldn't have with their husbands, they started having it with their sons. Like what you mentioned about the polar energies of masculine and feminine attracting each other. So when they see a boy, it's like, oh, me, let me take care of him the way I would have loved to take care of a man, and see it reciprocated. That's the tagline. Because yes, they could have been doing all those things for their husbands, but the adulation that they would probably get from his son, they wouldn't get it from their husband. Do you understand? So that you want to be adored, you want to feel like this person loves you unconditionally. So that's what I mean by good intentions. You can't really fault them because it's a natural, element of a woman to want to feel like I'm loved, I'm appreciated by the opposite.
And what would you say about the connection between the father and the daughter?
It's the same thing. It's pretty much the same thing. The only time it becomes a problem is when it is overdone. Same way as when it is overdone with the mother and the son. The only reason why that's not the case is that that's not as common. Especially in Africa. How many men are there first?
How many daddies
how many men are actually there as fathers before you now even start to say, oh, it's a father that really loves his daughter. And not in a sense of they're like, okay, you're not in the family, you can be there, you're living in the house, but nobody has a relationship with you. When you come home, everybody's burning, daddy's back, everybody's taking off. That is a typical African home. Yours seems very peculiar, honestly. But that's a typical
home.
African
Daddy
home.
is the king, like daddy is home. Everybody
as tough as they appear to be, they tend to, be soft towards their daughters.
Now, I think now.
Yeah, and that's why you see that in most African homes you see that there's usually rivalry between
mothers and daughters.
Yeah.
And that's because the mother sees that, okay, this girl has that attention. So there's this soft rivalry between, so when the girl comes to her mom and says, Mama, I need you, like, go and meet your dad now. Go meet him. He's going to do it for you. You get.
What do you think about that?
I don't know if the baby boomers fall into. I feel like friends, you have people, and maybe your family.
Yeah.
People that were in this position. I don't know, man. Oh, I see those moments when my dad would call me with my math book, or he would call us on the dining table coming from work and say, I want to check your homework. And there was either a slippers
That was me.
A rolled up. That was you to your siblings, right?
That was me to my dad.
With your dad.
Oh, with your dad.
Yeah.
So you can imagine. That was us.
That was awesome.
That was me.
And his wit is just like, you just know that
Just try
today,
yourself
or you're going to get
Just
a
try
knock.
it.
You are going to definitely
that's
get
why I
a
did
knock.
maths till today. I don't like it.
Exactly, and it was maths. It was always maths. So you are there.
If not for maturity and divine grace by God, I probably would have hated my sister.
Like jealousy.
So we come back from school. She's very good in maths. She's an accountant.
Oh wow. Okay.
I never liked it. I'm not good with numbers. So we come back and he says, bring your maths book, and she brings us out.
And the
she's
comparison.
eyes is good, and you'll be like, yes, this is my daughter. You go meet your mom.
Yeah, you are not
So
intelligent.
you forced me to
Gravitate more towards her.
and I think most fathers do that. Most
Well,
fathers do that.
I wouldn't say
say-
most. Okay, so for us growing up, my dad was. I wouldn't say my dad was not a cool dad. He was. I have to give that to him. He had
loved
things
fun.
that
He was
he
a
enjoyed.
fun,
That he used to do with us. He used to. He had
Travel.
this recorder then. He used to record us when we were
Record
little kids.
everything.
Say what you want to be in future. He used to travel with us and all those things. So he tried in some aspect. But when, if you're saying knowing us as people now, I wouldn't say that he knew us. Do you understand? He had that fun time. Oh, when it's a good time, let's go, let's have fun. But knowing who we are, being able to go and sit with your dad now and have certain kinds of conversations, it wasn't there. And it wasn't there with our mom either.
It wasn't there with our
because
mom either.
our mom too was in a very peculiar situation. Let's just not get into her own today. But it was a very peculiar situation. Both of them had their moments. In fact, growing up, I would say I preferred my dad to my mom because he was fun. He didn't know things. Yes, he didn't know what was happening in our life, but he was fun. While my mom was strict.
She was strict.
She was very strict. But then when my brother came, we saw a different side to our dad that we had never seen before. We were three girls first. And I was the last girl for like 5 years before my brother came. So they were looking for a boy, kind of. And this is what is bringing me back to my point, you know. For some reason, it's not as if I feel like both the feminine and the masculine should be appreciated just as much, you know. But in Africa, it's like there's an obsession with the masculine. The
My dad
man,
was
man,
sad when
boy,
she
boy,
came.
boy. When I came, it was like go back to the hospital with this thing that you have brought. Literally, I'm not joking. And I felt that energy even as a child growing up. Like I was not wanted. Ask her.
I too had.
My
mom said
I used to be the child that was just
a boy
on my own. And it's now that I'm trying to come out of that thing. Like I'm trying to let people in, like talk more, because growing up I just shut down as a child, and it continued like that till my teens. My sisters didn't know anything about me. I was just guarded because I felt that energy like I was not wanted, you know, because my dad actually really wanted a boy. It's like after 2 girls, you're now coming back with another girl. What are you crazy? You know, so then when my brother now came, he was like, this is the prince of the Atas family. He has finally come. Sorry?
It was
Overpampered completely. My brother could not do anything. Wash his socks. No? Why? A king?
A prince?
Should a prince
He's a
be
prince.
washing socks?
He's a boy.
Cook? What is that?
And then if you fight with him,
like
punished.
even if you don't.
Very
Oh, now we are coming
let's come
to
there.
our
Exactly.
point, you know. Now my brother, you know, I don't want to put his business online and whatnot, but my brother is really struggling. To be honest with you, 100% honest with you, he's really struggling because there's a disconnection. When you grow up in a family where it seems like
everything is
no matter what you do, wrong, good, evil, you are good. Then you enter into the real world, and people will not take that shit from you.
Say, what's this?
It's like if you're not clean, people are like, can't you clean up after yourself? If you're waiting for people to do everything for you, nobody takes you seriously. Then you now start to have that disconnect, like, what happened? I thought I was a prince. I thought I was a king. You know, I thought I was, everything was supposed to just work for me without trying, you know. And then he has struggled, and he's still struggling because it's not easy for him to understand a world now where he can't just have his way without doing anything to earn it, you know. And that was the disadvantage. Now my mom tried in that situation, in a sense that she did want him to be disciplined. She wanted him to be disciplined in a sense, but because of the kind of preferential treatment he was getting from my dad, you know, she became upset about it because it was a lot.
He was
to the point where you can't even talk to him. He talk back to you. You can't correct him. He will answer you back. Then when the last born now came, now happened to be another boy. My mom now decided that, okay,
my love,
say this one is your son. This one now is my own son.
No,
that's a problem in African home.
Yes, he actually started with, he looks like he's going to be short. He looks like your family.
Yes.
So he actually started that. Doesn't have a nose. You know, he already started profiling him from when he was a child. So my mom now decided to pour all of her love on this little thing that my dad would call a little thing. And he was bullied by my dad and literally
the elder brother.
They will be like, you know, you are like this other person. And so I think she now also dove into that ocean of love with this child. This child. I think what happened to somehow the dynamic for that one is just that child had focus.
Yeah.
There was something about him that was different. He knew from 3 he used to dance like Michael Jackson. He used to sing. He would dance and dance and dance. And that one was just it's not like he was rebellious, but Abdulaziz had he had the things,
a sense of direction.
A sense of direction. And little wonder that thank God for the beating he got from my dad. Yeah. You see, there's something about a father having a vision, having a direction, knowing what he wants for his family. he knows where he wants his children. He
To
knows,
be.
he knows. When a man is the compass, men need to know, and that's the reason why you cannot over pamper a boy. What your mom did for you was priceless.
Yeah.
You can't, because that is going to be the head of somewhere
Exactly.
tomorrow. The head,
Exactly.
the light.
Now,
the
sorry,
beacon of
sorry,
light.
sorry to interrupt, but I just have to make this point. I have to make this point. Now, you know the way they always say, oh, a woman, you're going to get married, you're going to be someone's wife, I feel it is so important to also train the man that you are also going to be somebody's husband. So you have to live a certain way. You have to understand the virtues of discipline, leadership, emotional intelligence.
That
you
happened to me when I was sorry I had to cut the show. It happened to me when I was in my NYS.
in your NYSC?
Yes.
Okay.
I became a totally different person. From being a friendly elder brother to a nag. I used to side with NTA then.
Okay.
And I was this very frustrated person. Because NTA used the hell out of me. I'll get back home around 10 p.m. And I get back home and the next thing they're shouting at my brothers. And I was beginning to look somewhere like my dad. You know, like, why is this here?
Yeah.
Why is that there?
Yeah.
And one day my mom called me. She sat me down. I was like, what's the problem? Nothing. She said, why are you nagging? Something said, anything wrong with you? I said, nothing. I'm just tired. Work is stuff. It's like, you need to learn how to manage your emotions. Because you're going to be a father someday. Don't be the kind of father
Yeah.
that will come
Round of applause. Another round of applause for your mom,
You
to be
know,
honest.
you need to be able to come back home no matter what the stress is, be able to see your kids, you know,
Yeah.
talk to them,
Yeah.
let them enjoy you, but
Yeah.
don't be that kind of father that would come back home and
You're angry.
you're
You
just
are
angry.
angry.
And she told me, she said, if you're a man, you have your status in society, whatever you are, be the pastor, imam, a lecturer, whatever you're doing in society, whatever it is, leave it outside of your home. When you get back home, be a totally different person. Let it be
Fantastic.
a place where you find happiness
Fantastic.
and where happiness finds you. You know.
So really, your mom did an amazing
Yeah.
job, to be honest with you, because contrary to a lot of African households, the only thing you hear is that, oh, you're going to be somebody's wife someday. You should be in the kitchen
You
from
should be
6 years
clean.
old. You should know what to do. You should be clean. You should take care of yourself and all of those things. But we forget that it's a yin and yang situation.
Yeah.
The yin can never be complete without the yang. Same way the yang cannot be complete without the yin. So if you're saying you're training this person to be somebody's wife, the man should also be trained.
Yeah.
It's not something that comes naturally.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I feel like a lot of our parents overlook. They just think, oh, because you're a boy, you come complete with every single thing that makes you a man. No. There should be a rite of passage for a man to understand that, okay, yes, I was a boy at some point, I could play, there were different things I could do, run around with my friends and all. But
Now
as you're getting to adolescence, you're getting to your teenage age, you know, young adult, a sense of responsibility has to come. And how does that sense actually come? Through challenges. That's the truth. There is no growth in life without challenges. You know, so I feel like because of the way a lot of women sometimes, or even the men, just want their sons to have this easy out, whether for want of having a male child, like in our own case, or just want of making the boy feel like you're special, you know, it kind of ends up playing a counterproductive role, because that child now will not be able to live up to the expectation that you want from him. In your own case now, because of what your mother did for you, you have become this man that she can look at now and be proud of and be like, oh, Mom, did you know this boy when he was young?
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't believe who he is now. And that should be like the testimony of every parent, really. Like, no matter what you were as a child, whether you were crazy or a rascal, but somehow they were able to mold you. How did that molding happen? Through the flogging, through the punishment, through the making you second guess and be like, is this woman even my mother?
She my mother.
You know,
was I adopted?
That's how it happened.
And I also think there's a mistake parents make.
Okay.
Which is taking sides.
Yeah.
So growing up, I used to think my mom hated me. And there are things I'll do. My dad may not say anything wrong with it.
Okay.
Maybe it's when it hurts him or when it gets to him personally is when he will take action. But my mom would flog me and would be like,
Why?
why are you flogging him? But she knows why she's flogging me, and she
Yeah.
expects him as a father to also be able to
Correct you
You
on
know.
that. Yeah.
correct me or do something about it. But when he's laid back and he's like, you know, I would feel, okay, he loves me more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. So the only time he used to flog me then was if it affected him personally. And he started noticing I was afraid of my mom for a while.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be able to say, dude, no, she loves you. You understand?
Yeah.
It's for a reason.
It's for a reason. So as parents, you need to both have one mouth.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, like be on the same page and
Yeah.
don't play with
Favorites.
compacts.
Good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So when kids start taking sides,
Feeling like oh,
there's
that.
gonna
Yeah.
be envy, there won't be side.
Yeah.
Very true. You wanted to say something?
Just like he said, I mean, I've even had that challenge personally where I just feel like this person is easier. God, this person is so difficult. And as opposed to what you say, I feel like girls, just like she said, polars, I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm harder on my daughter than I am on my son. I feel like I want to cuddle this thing she's saying.
Mm.
I had to think about this. What is he going to turn out to be? If I keep, because yeah, he has his challenges, but my son is an easier child. He's not as tough as my daughter. My daughter has a mind of her own. And so there are things I want her, there are things she has to do, there are things I want her to do. But so we're always butting heads. And she's always feeling like you don't like me, you don't love me. So as opposed to where okay, no, you thought your mom hated you. It's my daughter that I think if you sit with my kids, my son might feel like I love him more than both of them always feel, mommy, it depends on the situation. Children are very manipulative.
Yeah.
That's another thing we also need to know. Children can manipulate you to think that, to do what you want them to do. So this one will say, Mom, you don't love me. Why? Because at that moment, the thing is not favoring the person. So everybody will say, Mommy, if it was me, you wouldn't, if it was me, you would have flogged me, but you didn't flog her. But the truth is, I correct them the same way. But I almost fell into that trap when I started feeling like, why is this girl so difficult? I don't like trouble.
And kids can never be the same way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand why this first one was just easy, and we had that 4 years of ease, and this one from when she's little, she's already challenging me, and I'm like, just be easy like this other one. Just be a sheep, be a sheep. But the truth is, you have the lion, you have the lamb. It's just how to manage. It's just to understand how to manage.
Yeah.
We need to know emotional intelligence is very important. Our parents, God bless them, and I love them so much, but they did not have emotional intelligence. My mom could have had a very toxic situation with my dad, and we are the ones that will collect
Yeah.
will collect all of that heat. She can come and beat you for just turning your head. She can come and she will pound you, and she'll be telling you, when I'm done with you, feel like a trailer hit you. And then just like, what did I do? Like, so your mom corrected you with purpose.
Yeah.
She had, and I'm even learning, I'm literally taking notes, because sometimes we are frustrated from our day.
Yeah.
And who is the next best person? The next person that just comes along and says, Mommy, and become Godzilla or Momzilla on the child, and you just pour everything. But that is a very thin line between, doing the right thing and bad intentions falling into this your good intentions. So we need to all just learn how to know where to fit what.
Yeah. Then there's also another thing. One thing I've observed about parenting is that, from my family and other families, is the first two, children always take the heat. So the parents concentrate their energy, their youth, on the youthfulness on those first two.
Okay.
They want them to
Turn out right.
to be captains, like they want them to be upright, they want them to be disciplined, so they can take care of
The
the
other
other ones coming. There were things that my kid sister would do now that if I even did it,
Collect.
I know what I would go through. Like she does some things, and growing up, by 5 o'clock, if I'm not awake, I know it's weekend. Like, what the hell is this? Get up, come on, it's time to go to mosque and pray. You know, she could wake up around 6 and you know, she just does her things easily. I'll even be the one saying, if I go to the house and I sleep over there, I'll be like, why is she not waking up? Like, let her sleep, she needs to sleep, she's tired. I'm like, but it's frozen out, you know. Or they want to cook in the house and she's upstairs, they're cooking and she's upstairs. We might start cooking at 10. I was already watching my mom because she would say, make this before I come back. I'll boil rice and it wasn't burnt, you know, before I come back. So she will just go into her room and I'll be like, why she should be here? Be like, no, let her rest. She just got back from school, she needs to sleep.
Okay.
Like, okay, so I see that, you know, the energy reduces as they get older.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
And the reason why I took the heat was because I'm the first. And you know, they believe that I should be upright for me to take care of
shiny.
The rest of them
Yeah.
are
the rest
coming.
of them, so.
So, and I think really it just goes to show that, you know, like what you said and what you have also said, a lot of our parents enter this thing from like an experimental point of view, you
Yeah.
know. So that's why I feel like these conversations are very important because whether you're a parent or you're soon to be parent or hopeful parent, it is important to understand what you're getting into when you're raising a child.
Purposefully.
A child is the foundation of society. Literally, the family, you know, the family unit is the foundation of society. The reason we have thuggery, kidnapping, killing, it started from the family. There is nothing in all the vices that you see in society that cannot be traced back to the family and where it started from. So, you know, I feel like, especially in Africa, we just look at marriage as a rite of passage. So go and marry because 30 must not meet you when you're single. That's all we're selling, you know. So people don't even understand what they're doing when they are getting into it. It's just let me just marry and take this thing off my box so I can face life. Nobody will disrespect me or nobody will pressure me. Let me just shall marry and move on. So a lot of people now enter it without understanding that these are lives that you're going to be trusted with, you know. It's a trust that God is giving you when they put a life into your hand, because whatever that child becomes, I feel like it's on the parents. And even though I'm not saying, oh, you should be a 40-year-old man somewhere blaming your mother like, oh, it's because of you. I'm not, you know, Captain America, whatever it is that you wanted to be, but you know, still the foundation still starts from, you know, the family. In the sense of the kind of discipline you receive, the kind of understanding of life, your viewpoint, all of these things start from the family, you know. So it's so important that we give grace to them. We thank God for the work that they did and how far they were able to do it, whether good, bad, or ugly. But going forward from a different generation, it is important for us to know the heavy responsibility that comes with a child. And it's not just, you know, dressing the child up, making them look good, making
Buying
them
stuff,
dress nice, you know, and all of
and
those
all
things. Because those
they
things
do
are
nowadays.
just, those things are just on the surface. You know, what is this life going to be? Who is this life going to be? What value is this life going to add to society? What value is this life going to add to his own family,
Generation.
you know, coming? So I read a tweet somewhere. I thought I wrote it down, but it's like I forgot to write it down, where somebody was tweeting about how she married an African man, a Yoruba man particularly, a Black American woman. So she was tweeting about how she married an African man, and when she came to meet his parents in Nigeria, the mom goes, "Oh, I hope you know how to make fresh soup because he does not eat leftovers." If the soup is from yesterday, we are not having that in this house. If this is from, and she was like, she was in shock, and she goes, okay, Nigerian women, is this what you guys go through? So I want to hear both of your points of views on that. Let's start with you,
Well,
Ahmed.
I am not married.
Do you eat leftovers?
Or will you eat leftovers?
Or will you eat leftovers
One day.
Of course. If it's leftover and it's
It's
family
okay.
food, of course I will eat it. Now, the angle I'm going to come in with that is this. I'm pescatarian,
Okay.
and you know, at home my family always say that, oh, if you get married, the wife is going to really, really try, because she doesn't. If she eats meat and you don't
Yeah.
eat meat, how you guys going to
Yeah.
cope? Like, I can fix my food. It's not a big deal. I can fix my food myself. If she eats meat, that she can eat her meat. I don't have a problem with it. I can fix my food. So it's not a big
Okay.
deal. So I think
Okay.
every man should,
Be able
you
to
know, the
do
one that's
certain
involved
things.
here, just be able to do certain
Yeah.
things yourself. And not wait for the wife to make fresh
Okay.
soup for you every time.
Yeah, honestly. So just like I said earlier, I have a couple of friends and people who have been married and have had these issues. I mean, the freezer is good. The soup was stored well, but it will just taste different.
Yeah.
For some, they even regurgitate, they will throw it up because their system is not wired to receive this food that has been left over. They have already, maybe their bodies have already been trained to have fresh meals. I don't believe, there's so many things involved, like waste, I mean, just the stress and energy of going to the market to have to do this thing called soup, or this thing called right from the beginning, starting all over again. I believe that, you know, every man, just like, you know, Ahmed said, should be able to be able to do your thing. Basic things. And I don't know where that thing came from, but I don't believe, there were times in Neanderthal times when there was no refrigerator, or there was no, you had to, I don't know how they lived.
Storage is
Do you
important.
get, storage is important. How would we even get some basic needs from the market if it was not stored?
Mhm.
See, I don't know where that idea came from, but I just feel like it's very old, you know. Everybody's on the go now, everybody's working, everybody's trying to make ends meet. There are no longer women just sitting down at home and being except you have a chef. There are. But except you have a chef, that is, I feel it's insensitive to make someone
Yes, in this
meals.
economy.
Do you understand?
you have to
Every
do that.
day. But it's true. It happens in some homes. Best believe that. There are some men that will not eat the soup that was made yesterday and preserved because it has interacted with germs in the fridge, and so it's not worthy of being sitting on my palate again today. So I do believe that is, there's all these a la carte, all the restaurants. See, I think it's a mindset thing because some of these restaurants we are going
Their
to,
foods are not fresh.
it's not fresh. It's
Yeah.
coming out of somewhere and being they just do it, again nicely. So I don't think that should be a rule or a regulation. I think it should be, marriage generally,
Well,
and this relationship thing, it should be based on understanding. You can't tell, or if you are going to do that, say it from the beginning. Let it be in the terms and conditions. We are going to go into this thing with fresh food every day, so you know if you can do it or if you can't.
yeah, and if as a man, if you want such a thing, I think so long as you're able to provide for such, because it means you're spending more. You can't store.
Yeah.
It's usually good to buy things in bulk,
Yeah.
cook and store in the freezer. But if you know you want fresh food, be ready to provide money.
For every
Yeah.
day.
For
Maybe
every
get
day.
a cook
Exactly.
who you're paying
A
to
chef.
do.
Exactly.
So I think in my own point of view from analyzing that situation,
Yeah.
I believe that a lot of comes back to what I was saying about like baby boomer marriages and the marriages before, even trickling down into millennial marriages somehow. There was this attachment of the role of a woman in a marriage with struggle,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word to use. It was a place of servitude. You're in this place to serve someone, you know. And yes, there is a place in marriage of serving your husband, you know, in a relationship, serving each other in a sense. But the needs of the woman was never on the table.
Yeah.
It was always like you're going into this thing to serve the man, to submit and serve, you know. So most of them just rolled with it because then it was a situation of adapt or die. You cannot come out of this.
Not come
You know,
out.
it's not
There's
like
no
now
home
that
for you
people
when you
can
leave
say,
home.
oh,
They
it's
tell
not
you that.
working, let's see, you know, what can be done. Then such conversations were, are you crazy?
Yeah.
What's not working? You know,
Sometimes the mother
what's
sees,
not working? So
sees
it's
the black
like
eye and she's like, suru.
exactly.
But that's
be
in Yoruba, that
patient.
means patience.
Just manage, you know.
know.
Just be patient, just, you know, keep rolling with the punches and whatnot. So for a lot of them, that was the kind of marriage that they had, you know, whether they are being beaten, whether they are being mistreated, any which way, you're there because it's your obligation as a wife and a mother to be there no matter what happens, you know. And while there is something to be gotten from that, because I feel like now in this generation that idea now is being eroded a lot. A lot of people can, the slightest inconvenience, they're already like, oh, I want to check out of here, you know. So there is a place for sacrifice, you know. There is a place for commitment, compromise and sacrifice in marriage, but it shouldn't be at the expense of a person's well-being, you know, because when you mess with yourself as a human being to a certain extent, it messes up your mind. So you can't even reason things properly. You can't make rational thoughts when it comes to a certain way of seeing life. So for a lot of them that were there being domestically abused, you know, being violent toward, and they stayed, they now look at it as you have to serve no matter what happens, and that's what they want to pass on to like the wives of their sons, in the sense of no matter what he does, you must serve him as your king. So you must make 7 soups every day, you must do this, you must do that, because that is the only life they knew. In a way, that's the only life they knew. So what are you talking about that you're going on vacation with your husband? Are you crazy? What are you talking about that you're pregnant and you want to go and do your nails, you want to do your hair? You're supposed to be scrubbing under the fridge. You're supposed to find one corner here and scrub. You're supposed to check between his toes
The work of the
and
woman is
scrub.
never done.
I mean, it's that bad. I'm telling you, the work of a woman is never done. That is a slogan.
That's the
So
slogan.
you're supposed to, even if there is no work, go and find it. What are you doing watching Netflix? You're crazy. You don't know what it is to be a wife.
In the part of, I have families, extended families, and I don't see them suffer.
Then you don't know what's happening in this real world. You are not living in the real world.
Yeah, I know there are bad men. I know there are irresponsible men. But I think, in any family, there's always the captain. The captain is always the man. He drives the family to a direction. But I know he's not meant to enslave the wife, but a man is a provider, naturally. Even though things are changing now, women are being self-sufficient, independent, and in a way, men are declining when it comes to executing their roles in the family. Yeah, men are captains. Number 1, products.
Okay.
The king, the so-called king.
Yeah.
And a woman is meant to serve, but not to slave. There are things she's meant to do. Every man wants to come back home and say, alright, what did you do for me? I don't think I'm the kind of man. I'd rather fix my food myself than have a house help fix my food for me. I don't think I would want to come back and it's a house help that would cook, but I would rather want her to do it. I do it myself.
Okay.
And where I come from, or the kind of things I've seen, men usually pamper their wives. They marry more than one wives, and these women have helps. So they just sit down and call, can I actually go and do this for me? They don't really
Do much.
so much. They just bear kids, stay at home. I have aunties like that. Their kids stay at home. Then they tell their husband, I want to change my car, he buys a new car. And you know,
Soft life.
you know, and he changes it. If he wants to marry another wife, he pampers
Her as
the
well.
first wife,
Yeah.
and he marries another wife and pampers that one. But in some very funny cases, you see that the man is so mean and
Let's even talk about for want of even down to sex. A woman is exhausted. I've seen it. I have people that have experienced these things, these sufferings of submission. I think it should be called the sufferings of submission. To be honest, it happens. I understand where you're coming from. Even though I haven't lived with, we've had neighbors who have had more than one wife, and they have their own apartments in the same building.
Compound.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own, just like you said, cars are changed, life is sweet.
Yeah.
Hajia Gold is here, this one. I don't know I don't know the real dynamics of being inside, because even as natural individuals, as social beings, I don't know who wants to share. So I really don't know the dynamics of everything that happens, but it looks from outside, it looks good and it looks easy.
Yeah.
There is also the sufferings of submission, where the woman has worked, she has done everything, but you still hear in some quarters where they say you are submitting your everything, your body too. And imagine those type of women relating with their children. Let's talk about the houses that don't have enough funds to take care of.
Because the life you're
especially
describing now has to be a very wealthy life. Which
Imagine
is not the ideal in Africa.
people
Let's just put it out
lower
there.
than average.
So what we're saying is,
And you have a bike man that has 8 children.
Well, not necessarily.
Why?
But I'm just saying that the situation, because I know there are lots of Muslims as well that have more than one wife, but are not necessarily as wealthy as what you just described. You know, to be able to just say, oh, you need a new car here, oh, you want an apartment of your own here. You know, that's not like the typical African Nigerian Muslim situation. There are some like that, but I'm just saying generally, you know. Are you done with your point?
I was just trying to say that I've seen how some kids are suffering, some parents, some mothers. Those mothers will still go and sell corn. They are the ones selling corn. They are still carrying a baby on the back. That woman has 7 children.
so we are talking about.
So I don't know why the sufferings of submission.
I wouldn't even say it's not just
the trigger for these things.
okay.
I think it's poverty.
No, I beg to differ on that, because like what she said, now I've not been in a polygamous family, even though my dad is a Muslim. For some reason he decided not to marry more than one wife, you know. But at the same time, I understand that nobody wants to share a man. No matter how much the situation is soft for you in a sense, you know, because I've heard this argument a lot, especially with new generation men. It's like, okay, as long as there's money, you should be good. But if you are really genuinely in love with somebody, you wouldn't want to sit through a situation of seeing that person with somebody else, even if the person is doing everything for you.
It's just like
I know
the
this
jealousy
completely
of
derails from.
It's just like the
this
jealousy of
completely derails
sibling
from our
rivalry.
topic.
Yeah, this is
Do you get
derailing
it?
from our
Completely
topic,
derails, but I
actually.
think it's such an important conversation because I'm a YouTuber. I spend 90% of my time on YouTube, you know, and I see all sorts of arguments that men of nowadays make. It's like this or this. Pick your struggle. It's either you're submitting 100% in suffering, or there are more than one wife and everybody is good. So are we saying that now we want to normalize a situation where we are not looking for that, commitment. I don't want to say an idealistic kind of love and romance, no, but there is a certain kind of commitment and connection that you have with a person that doesn't make it easy for you to just go and just have another wife and just say, oh yeah, let's go. One of my friends got married recently, and she's a Muslim. Her husband is Muslim as well. I see their connection and I'm inspired by it. It's a connection that you don't see typically in a lot of like Muslim settings. You can see that they are in love. And I cannot imagine in my mind that guy having a second wife. I can't imagine it. Like, I can't fathom it. That is how.
Wow.
Never. It's like, I feel like a lot of people nowadays want to say, oh, it's a situation of as long as you're well taken care of, then you should be able to take anything. And at the same time, because I know people will now come from the point of, oh, would you rather not be well taken care of? Or, women look for security. Absolutely. Women do look for security. It is true. Everybody would want to marry up in a sense because you want to be comfortable to an extent, not just because of yourself, but because you understand that you're bringing children that have needs that have to be taken care of. And if you want them to have a semblance of a good life to an extent, everybody wants to seek for that partner that will be able to provide such for them. But are we now saying that we want to normalize the argument of you should be willing to take anything as long as you are comfortable?
Well,
I know, like I said, this completely derails from our topic.
That question should be for women because I've seen women who will tell you, I'd rather cry in a mansion than
cry in a Maserati.
it's women. I think they need to reorient themselves. Everything now is money. Everybody wants to live.
Okay, I think we should actually leave this topic for another because I want to say so much and I don't want this thing to be too long. So we have to leave this topic for another podcast because it is so important. And the reason I feel it is so important to have this conversation is that people say, oh yes, it's women that want this, it's women that, but at the end of the day, the prevalent mindset now becomes more of a transaction. What are you going to do? And that's the reason if I drop this 500k on your head, if I say jump, how high is what you should answer me? Do you understand? So it's now become so transactional on every part that the essence, of being in a relationship is lost completely. It's no longer like
that's
a
why
relationship.
It still goes back to the women. How do the women present themselves? Now, there was a lady who reached out to me recently, and she was like, "Ahmed, please, can you get me sponsors?" She's trying to accomplish a project, and everybody she goes to needs to raise funds.
Yeah.
They all tell her, "Come to my hotel room, And she was like, "What do I do?" And I told her, I said, "See, the way to go about these things is what value do you have to give apart from
your body? Yeah.
And I told her, I said, if a lady comes to me and she brings a proposal and I know it's going to benefit me myself, I wouldn't even think of
of course,
of wanting to do any nonsense with that. But if you come and you have no value or nothing of benefit for me, if you're bringing a proposal and tell me let's partner up, this is your beat, this is my beat, I would definitely want to do if I have the money for it. But I'm not benefiting anything from stuff. I'm not related
my
to
money
you.
is going to drop.
I'm not related to you. And you come to me and tell me to give you money. In my mind, I'll be thinking, okay,
what's in it for me? Okay.
even if you don't say it, I'll think that's what you want me to do. So, you understand? I'll start feeling, okay, maybe she wants.
Okay, hearing from a man's
Do you understand?
perspective.
So, women need to have, value, like, be yourself. Be yourself. Men will appreciate you more. They want to do things with you because you have value, not just a body.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So it still goes back to women and how they present themselves.
You really think so?
Yes.
I don't know why. I feel like is the mischief of the man's world idea. I'm sorry. It's a man's world. You hear that every day.
It's a
And
man's
let
world,
me
but
tell
there
you,
are
let me
women-
tell
there
you
are
why.
women who are
Let me
successful
tell you
and-
why. No, let me
Yeah.
tell you why. Look at the odds are always against the woman. So a woman is maybe separated or divorced or whatever, and or she's just in a very funny family dynamic, and she's making friends with other people. Suddenly, she's an ashawo, she's a street urchin, all the names. A man is not even is in his house. He's married. That's why I said the mischief of I like this my title.
Finish it.
Mischief
in his
of a
house.
man's world. He's in his house.
Okay.
He's married.
Okay.
I mean, there's no issues. And he has friends all over the place. Does he have tags? Men are not generally tagged.
So
But a single woman that has money, she has her own thing going, she has her cars, she's doing well in her business. There's always a stereotype. There's always a name. This one, she's always going to have a tag. A man just wakes up and works hard and is successful, and he's not tagged.
No, I'm not gonna. And the reason why I'm not gonna agree with you is this. I think women find it more easy.
Okay.
A woman can wake up today with nothing in her skull. I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult. She may have nothing in her skull. She wakes up today, dressed up fine, go to National Assembly, buy her way into the National Assembly,
Yeah.
ask for a senator. She smiles at him. And for coming, she just says, "Oh, sir, I am looking for a job. I don't have a job. Please, can you help me?" And I'll be like, "Come in." And he says, "Oh, where do you work with?" She's like, "And then can you be my secretary?" She's like, "Yes, sir." And she gets the job. And that day, she may even be going on and give her 100K. Go home.
Yeah.
Yes, that
Right?
happens here.
The guy will suffer before he gets a job. Now, the thing with guys is, guys have been able to build themselves and build others, like build their friends. The guy now sees an opportunity, calls the fellow back, "Dude, come, let's do this business together." There's an opportunity there. And we've been able to lift each other out. Women don't do that. So, and that's why you say that women always have to run to men all the time. You don't see a woman run to a fellow woman to say, "Help me." Am I wrong?
Nowadays, we're trying to run to
You
each
guys
other.
don't. You guys, I'm sorry to see you're selfish.
Shots
Women-
fired.
I've said this before, and that's why you
Okay.
always. Sometime was it 2 years ago? There was a bill that was passed saying that they want majorities and a number of women in power.
Okay.
Yeah,
In politics,
in
right?
politics, and there was a clamor that saying, "Oh, should they be? Should they not be?" But if women who are in power are able to bring others up, you're building a system. It's like a pyramid system. You're building other people. You now become. You hear things like godfatherism, but there's no such thing as godfatherism. Once you guys get there and you have money,
true.
once you guys get to the top and you have money, all you think about is gold and dress up and go to parties. And you don't think of all these young girls who are
Some
running
of
around
us
the
are
streets.
Well,
with
okay,
their
so
differently nowadays.
now I would let me link all
To
of
be
this now
honest.
back to
Yeah.
our topic. It's when I'm talking about how we are raised as women and how men are raised. Men are raised more with a communal sense.
Mm.
Boys will be boys. Go and be a man. Build your community, whatever. Do whatever you want to do. Have your circle, have your friends. Be a man's man. Just be a boy and not so. But women are raised with that individualistic sense. You are meant to grow up, serve someone, serve your family, and that's about it. And a lot of times, also, in a sense, women are also like plowed with this argument of your fellow woman is more of competition than community.
Yeah.
You understand? It's like, oh, look when you have a female friend, look at her sideways. I personally have been a victim of that kind of mindset. Is as I grew older that I realized that there is a role that women play in each other's lives. I shouldn't. What's the pride in saying, "Oh, as a woman, my friends are men"? No, absolutely not. Like, yes, I should have my male guys,
yeah.
my guys and all, but my female circle should even be way stronger than that. Because I should understand that there is a community. As a woman and with my fellow women, there is something we can give to each other that men can't give.
Yeah.
You understand? Is in our makeup. There are conversations we can have that we can't have with men. You know, so that understanding, unfortunately, is not really there as well as we grow. People make it look like, oh, women are your competition. Or, wow, this woman is coming to steal your husband. Now, maybe it's coming from that polygamous point of view where it's like everybody is competing for this one person's attention.
True.
And if we go back into like the ancient African society, what was it? It was polygamous. Then whether you're religion or a man that is a strong man in society, that is a Odogu basically, has more than one wife, it is standard because he should be served. Now how is that affecting the mindset typically of the woman? Is making them look at those fellow women as competition. Because like I said, no matter how well taken care of you are, if there is a shred of emotional connection between you and that person, you don't want him to have a better connection with somebody else, even if you agree to the situation. Yes, you might agree and say, okay, no problem, here now, 2, 3, 4, bring them. You are already plotting, what am I going to do? I'm going back to the gym. In a sense, I'm going back to the gym, or let me just use gym, or I'm going to get myself right. I'm going to start cooking the best food. I'm going to go and learn snake in the monkey shadow position because this man must focus on me. That is, let's be real. That is how any woman, red-blooded woman, straight woman would think. You want to have this person as your own and feel a sense of this is mine. That is the reason why even in those polygamous ones, there was always a wife that was seen like this is the favorite.
This is the favorite.
This is Chief's favorite. He likes her more than everybody else. Now that person becomes an enemy of everybody else. Because what is it about you that this man now likes? So you see them, those other 3 now can go and start become friends plots against that one. You know, so I feel like that has poured into our modern world now, because at the core of us as human beings, we're still animals. There is our animalistic nature in us, and it is there in the background of how we think and how we perceive the world around us. So somehow, yes, we're more civilized now. Yes, we dress better, we talk better, we're not cutting, having to go and hunt for our food and all those kind of things. But intrinsically, we are still animalistic in a sense. So when you're looking at another woman, you're looking at her as a competition. It's how even down to maids sometimes. Some women, please, the ugliest of the ugly, this one is too fine.
This one is too fine.
And the girl is not even coming with the mind of what is her business. She's just trying to do her job and get on in life. She doesn't have any business with Oga or whatnot. But the woman is already looking like, this girl is very pretty. See her shape. See her shape. You're already looking at it as competition. What am I going to lose as a result of having this person in my space? So somehow that thing has spread into our mindset as women a lot. So that's why even now you see it in politics. If a woman is in a place of power, she wants to be the only one there, because it's like, what am I going to lose? Let's say I'm a 45-year-old woman now, I'm the Minister of Education or something, and I'm the only minister in that entire cabinet. Then one young, hot 25-year-old now comes and they say this one is Minister of Health. Haba. I will not be able to breathe. You'll be having palpitations, and I'm not even saying that's a good way to be, but I'm just saying let's be realistic and look at society for exactly what it is now. You're already thinking of this person, maybe the Senate president or the president now might like this person more than me. My job, what's going to happen? Do you understand? You're already looking at what am I going to lose by this person being in my space. And I think it has come from that ancient way of viewing ourselves as competition. We can't be in the same space because I might have to lose something as a result of this other person being there. But on the flip side, I 100% agree with what you said on value, because when you know your worth, which is the more ideal way of viewing these things, when you know your worth, when you know what you have to offer, it doesn't matter bring Kim
Who is
Kardashian.
bring
Do you understand?
Beyonce.
Bring Beyonce, bring
Bring-
Rihanna, bring anybody.
We'll
I
all
will stand
stand together
because
and-
I
yeah.
know who I am. And if I have to lose on the premise of people just being driven by physicality as opposed to, you know,
What's in the
understanding
brain.
of what,
Yeah.
then I will lose. I will
Gracefully.
lose with all of my
Gracefully,
integrity.
yeah.
Because I have the understanding that no matter where I go, because of the value I
Yeah.
carry, I will still have something to bring, because all of these things fade, you know, all of these
Yeah.
things change with time and all of that. So I think it is very important, you know, like you rightly said, for women to start to lift each other up and see each other as this person is not a
instead of
competition. She's my community. We are in this thing together. Let's help ourselves. Let's grow. And there is so much power in that. You know,
Yeah.
there is so much power in like the way men are able to lift each other
Yeah.
up. You know, just by being men and enjoying each other's company, they lift each other up. There is also that power to in women if we can start to see things
ourselves as
from that point of view.
Yeah.
You know, it's really help. So we have gone round.
Yeah.
We have gone around the world, but you know, I think this was a really nice conversation we've had. Although I can't say we've come to any particular conclusion, but still, you know, it's important for us to first of all understand the role. So I'll just say in summary, as parents, future parents, and whatnot, it is important for us to understand the role that a whole life is being entrusted into your hand. It's no small job. That life is going to become a president tomorrow, a father tomorrow, a mother, a this, a that, you know, and that is where all of society comes from. So it is so important to understand the gravity of that responsibility. So do you guys have anything to say in conclusions?
Well, what I'm just gonna say is, in everything we do in life, we should always be able to paint a very good narrative of ourselves.
Okay.
Take for example, I'm going to digress a bit.
Okay.
If you watch Korean movies very well, there's something they usually do most of the series. You just see some low, some poor girl from nowhere who doesn't have
Anything.
good
No
background,
family
no
name.
family. She may be an orphan. Then a good character would help her till she gets to the top and she's standing with the kings.
Yeah.
There's a particular Korean movie I saw, it's called Domino or something like that. This girl was an orphan, but a good character value brought her that she kept, rising from rank to
Yeah.
rank till she became a queen at that time. And that's probably, I love to see women do great things. Women are really something that I know a lot of women are divorced, having to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
We have a very messed up society.
Yeah.
Yeah, men too. Yeah, men need to wake up. I think they're losing their mojo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Men are becoming lazy these days. They
Yeah.
want to become like women.
Yeah.
We hear some guys saying, "No, I'm looking for a rich woman who will take care of me," or "I'm looking for a woman who will be able to share responsibilities together." The providers, naturally.
Yeah.
We should always work hard and know how to stand and stick to it. Or, I don't know, the kind of families we have these days are usually weak men.
Yeah.
Just like what I said in the beginning, the first form of learning was from institute
Yeah.
learning is family. And, every form of education you get from that family should provide you full of value. Right?
Yeah.
So that's just it. Men should stand strong. Women take care of yourselves. Build yourselves. Because if you build yourselves, no one is going to consider. That's just it.
Nice one. Nice one.
So, just cooling from what you said, very, very important. I'm sorry to digress a little bit. She used to say something that you can never give what you don't have. An enslaved mind cannot free anyone. You can't free somebody when you yourself think that or when you yourself are like a slave. A slave cannot free another slave. We are all in this together.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I believe very strongly that women are much more powerful than what we have seen ourselves. We have been sold many ideas over the years, the ideas of our bodies, beauty, face. But the real value is what is inside, just like what you just said. It's not about even coming from a privileged home or non-privileged home. But values, those deep-seated values that are intangible, are the things that rise up and make us actually have wings to fly. Coming from a place where you think that, I always say that the Disney movies messed me up because I'm not even going to lie. Growing up, I always thought that life is going to be like this Beauty and the Beast story, or it's going to be like this Cinderella and Snow White, and some Prince Charming on a night is just going to come and take you. But really, it is just like you said, so many things. Two persons having one tongue, having one mouth, having one command is going to raise a generation of people that will be strong mentally. There's something that someone used to say. I think it's an analogy of how children that grew up struggling are going to turn out to be the wealthy ones.
Yeah.
And the wealthy kids are going to turn out to be the druggies.
Yeah.
They are going to turn out to be the lazy because they were privileged, they were inside enjoyment. But I like the fact that children that are even inside privilege, see, the royal family, sometimes when I'm reading about them, it blows my mind. Not just abroad, even here. Those values, those things. Imagine a prince sitting down with bulls and a bull is running and the bull is going to kill this guy. But he was trained not to move and he didn't run. That thing was shot from this. When I read that story, it blew my mind. He stood and they said they don't hop on the stairs. There's so many things. These are little values. But these are people in privileged homes. But nowadays we have privileged parents who just want to spoil their kids, have everything you want, enjoy your life.
It's like the life they could not
They
have.
could not have. They want to
their
now
children
bestow
to
on
have.
their children. So whether privileged or not privileged, values at the end of the day are the foundation and that thing that is going to build the blocks. And when the storms come, this person is still going to be standing. Like that emperor that said, was it in Mulan? There was this cartoon we watched, and he said, no matter how the wind blows, the mountain never bows to the wind. So no matter what life, circumstances throw at you at the end of the day, you remain steadfast because you've learned from when you were little that these are the values: integrity, respect, sowing into yourself. What you want others to do for you are doing it to others. Those little things are the little water that is going to make the ocean of that individual at the end of the day that is going to give out to society. So if you are teaching, if you are condoning lies, stealing, and those little things, that's the thief and the armed robber that you're going to have tomorrow. He's going to steal your jewelry, he's going to steal your car, he's going to steal some. Even from that your house, you will have a thief. So it's just little basic things. That's a group of values. Whether it's a book, whether it's a palette, whether it's going to be a generation, something your own parents have taught you that you're going to teach. We have to make sure that our children, these children, not God bless Gen Z. But you see, do you know there was an argument the other day, and the guy was going, yes, I'm going to use ChatGPT for everything. Why is it there if I cannot use it? So we have children now who just want to go to a calculator. When they nowadays they would ask you 455 plus 560, and something is waiting for you if you cannot answer it. They might give you time to think, but it's not fair that now we have people that have electronics and technology to run to for everything. When the chips are down and when life is actually coming to you and you need to use your brain, you will fall short because computer has done everything. Calculator, I can tell my boss, goodbye. You just write. We need to teach our children perseverance, endurance. Those were some of the values that we learned. Endurance in the face of tough and challenging situations. Nowadays, you don't see endurance. You just see people, "Oh, my mental health is being challenged. Oh, I love you guys. I love you guys." Software, exactly. So, just like you said, men are looking for, and it's true. I've heard boys, I've heard guys say, me, I just want to marry from, and they are actively hunting for those rich family girls to just plant themselves there. But you know, you said something, a man is a natural provider. He's going to fight against that person. Yeah. So no matter, even if he ends up there, she's never going to reap any love, because naturally his innate desire is to be the one to bring it home. Bring home the bacon, and then this woman is the one putting food in your mouth, feeding you, and literally.
Wants her to respect him.
Exactly. So there's a different way that somebody will look at you when you're feeding the person than when the person is feeding you. That's just the truth. There's a different way. So it now always becomes counterproductive. Now you guys are entering into my second topic. We are going to have a part 2 of this podcast, because this thing is a topic on its own, and I don't want us to, dive too deeply into it, because really I feel like what you guys have said is so true. Society is changing, people are becoming more modern, but it's like what I said, intrinsically we are still animals, and we need to understand and appreciate that animal nature that makes us. Because no matter how society wants to make it look like, oh yeah, no, let's just relax and be taken care of, let's do this, let's do that, there is a makeup within you that would still drive you in a certain way, So I want to say thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for gracing me with this, opportunity. I really appreciate you guys and the intelligent point of views that you have both shared. Really, in raising a society, raising a family, it is a two, pronged fork. We can't do one without the other. And in as much as society now wants to make it look as if, men are scum or women are trash, men cannot survive without women. Yes, I said it. And women cannot survive without men either. It is what has spiraled into a lot of weak men, like you said, being raised. Men not understanding their role and their responsibility in society anymore, because maybe unfortunately the woman was left alone with a son without a father. Then she feels like, oh, this boy, I have to protect him, I have to love him, I don't want him to feel the pain of whatever it is that this situation has brought about. But then that man has to be a man in society eventually, and when he's now raised with that too much love over stifling, he doesn't understand how the world is supposed to work. He doesn't understand the value that he is supposed to bring. He doesn't understand the godship, of being a man in his masculine essence, his full masculine essence. It doesn't even allow him to rise up to that, God consciousness of knowing that, yes, as a man, this is who I am, this is what I can bring, to the table, and this is how I'm going to affect my society and my tribe, literally, that is coming from me. So thank you guys so much, and please let us know your social media. How can people reach you? How can people reach you? And any other thing you have to say?
That's all. You can reach me on the Tiktok Abuja.
On Instagram?
Yep.
Okay.
You can reach me on the Art of Zooey and Bloom by Zooey on Instagram.
No other social media. You guys are just Instagram children. Children of the ground.
Well, I guess for now.
Yeah. Alright, so thank you so much, Duke of Abuja. Thank you so much, Art of Zooey. I hope this will not be the last time I see you guys on this show. As we have seen, we have so much to talk about, and it will be my pleasure to have you guys here again. So thank you so much. And guys, if you watched to this end, thank you so much for staying with us. I hope you have learned something. I hope you have, enjoyed the session throughout. So please help us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel so we can bring you more goodness, more interesting conversations, and more ways we can make our society better, because after all, that's all we are here for. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye. Thank you.